Stop scrolling for 1 second. The next few minutes can change how you see money. Your first million isn't a mystery or a miracle. It's a schedule, a percentage, and a rule you follow on autopilot, whether markets are calm or chaotic. Most people never reach a million because they chase excitement and avoid boredom. The million lives inside boring habits, repeated for years. Stay to the end, and I'll give you a simple payday system that turns 7 figures from a wish into a process you can follow. I'm Dave. Quick favor. Hit like and subscribe. Those 2 clicks help the channel reach more people who need a real plan. Now let's build your million step by step without hype. Here's the truth. Your portfolio doesn't care about your story, your stress, or your intentions. It responds to inputs. Input 1 is how much you invest. Input 2 is how long you let it work. Input 3 is whether you panic at the wrong time. If you only remember one line today, make it this. Returns are the bonus, contribution is the engine. Early on, your savings rate matters more than your stock picks, your charts, and your opinions. So we start with the first lever. Your margin. Not income. Margin. What you keep after life happens. A person earning modest pay with strong margin can beat a high earner with weak margin. That's why the first million is less about earning more and more about leaking less. Every leak delays the curve. Every fix pulls the curve closer, even if the fix feels small at first. Think of each dollar as an employee. When you spend mindlessly, you fire employees. When you invest, you hire employees. Your job is to build a workforce that works while you sleep. Now you might be thinking, Dave, I don't have extra money. I have bills, rent, debt, and life. I get it. But the plan starts with one honest number. Your investing percentage. Pick a baseline percentage you can sustain for 12 months. 10%, 15, 20. The exact number matters less than the rule. The rule is it comes out first every payday, no negotiation. Because when you invest what's left, there is never anything left. Lifestyle will always expand to meet your entire paycheck. So we reverse it. We pay the investor version of you first. This is where automation becomes your best friend. Set an automatic transfer to your investment account on payday. If the money never sits in checking, it can't be talked into leaving. Automation doesn't just save time, it saves you from you. It blocks impulse, mood, and fear. You're building a system that works on your worst day, not just your motivated day. Next, we decide what to buy. And I'm going to disappoint the part of you hunting for a secret. The foundation is low-cost, diversified index funds, not because they're glamorous, but because they remove ego, reduce mistakes, and capture long-term growth without needing you to be a genius. An index fund is a shortcut to ownership. Instead of betting on one company, you buy a slice of hundreds or thousands. One bad headline can't destroy you because the whole machine keeps moving. Your core can be one broad market index fund. Add an international index fund for global diversification. Then add a high-quality bond fund if you want stability and a smoother ride. A simple starting mix could be 70% broad stocks, 20% international, 10% bonds. If you're closer to needing the money, increase bonds. If you're younger, you can hold more stocks. Don't get stuck searching for the perfect mix. Perfection is procrastination wearing a suit. A good plan today beats a perfect plan next year. Time is the ingredient you cannot replace. Now let's talk about the timeline, because timelines kill anxiety. In the first few years, your growth will look slow. That's normal. You're building the base that makes later growth explode. Most people quit before the curve bends because they expect fireworks in year 1. The curve bends later. Your job is to survive the quiet years without inventing drama in your portfolio. So here's the game. Keep buying through boredom. Keep buying through headlines. Keep buying through downturns. When prices drop, your fixed contribution buys more shares. That's not a crisis, that's a discount. The market will fall sometimes. That's the price of admission. If you can't handle temporary drops, you'll never earn long-term gains. The plan is designed to function during chaos, not avoid it. This is why we diversify and why we include stability if needed. Bonds and cash buffers are not about maximizing returns. They're about preventing panic. Preventing panic is worth more than chasing an extra percent. Let's add the second protective layer, an emergency fund. A cash buffer keeps you from selling investments to cover surprises. It protects your shares when life throws a bill at you in a bad market. Now, let's make the million feel real with math. If you invest $500 every month for 30 years and you average around 8%, you can reach roughly $700,000. If you invest $1,000 monthly under similar conditions, you push into 7 figures. You don't need perfect years, you need enough good years plus consistency plus time. If those numbers feel impossible, good, because you're thinking in today's budget instead of tomorrow's trajectory. You don't start at $1,000 a month. You start where you are, then you scale. The scaling method is the biggest difference maker, and I'll give you the exact rule near the end. Before we scale contributions, we have to stop the silent killer. Fees. Fees feel tiny, but they compound against you every year. A 1% fee can cost you a shocking amount over decades. So keep costs low. Choose funds with low expense ratios. Avoid products that charge heavy management fees for promises they can't keep. Your goal is to keep more of your market return. Next silent killer, taxes. Constant trading creates taxable events and usually creates mistakes. A long-term approach reduces churn, reduces friction, and keeps your compounding engine cleaner over time. This is why the plan is buy, hold, and add. You're not trying to outsmart the market. You're trying to own the market. Ownership is patient, speculation is restless. Now we need to address debt, because debt changes the math. High-interest debt is a guaranteed negative return. If your debt rate is very high, prioritize paying it down aggressively while investing something small. If your debt is low interest, you may be able to invest and pay it down together because long-term market growth can outpace that cost. The key is being honest about rates and risk tolerance. Here's the rule: kill the most expensive leak first. Every % of interest you stop paying is a return you lock in. That's why crushing high-interest debt can beat any investment. Now, the biggest obstacle isn't the market. It's your behavior. Humans hate waiting, and investing is waiting with purpose. Your brain will beg you to change the plan when nothing exciting happens. You'll feel tempted to chase a hot stock, a new trend, a shiny story. That temptation is normal. But every chase increases the chance you abandon the boring plan that actually builds wealth. So we set guardrails. Limit fun money picks to a tiny slice if you must. 5% maybe. Keep 95% in the boring diversified engine. That keeps ego from wrecking outcomes. Another guardrail is how often you check your account. Checking too often trains anxiety. It turns normal volatility into emotional pain. Most people should look quarterly, not daily, and rebalance annually. Rebalancing is simply returning to your target mix. When stocks grow faster, you trim a little and add to what lagged. It forces you to buy low and sell high, quietly, without drama. Now let's talk about the thing that actually makes the million show up: increasing contributions over time. The first million is rarely built with a flat contribution forever. It grows as your life grows. But most people increase lifestyle instead of contributions. They get a raise and instantly upgrade everything. New payments, new subscriptions, new habits. Then they wonder why they feel stuck again. So we use a rule that captures raises before lifestyle can eat them. I'm going to tease it now because it's the million maker. But first you need to understand why raises are powerful. A raise is optional money. You were already living before it existed. That means you can redirect part of it without pain. If you redirect it automatically, your investing rate climbs without willpower. This is the part that makes the math unfair. If your contributions rise while your lifestyle stays stable, your portfolio accelerates faster than you expect. It's like compounding on your compounding. Now let's lock in the practical setup. You need the right account for long-term investing. Use a reputable brokerage and choose simple diversified funds. Then automate deposits and reinvest dividends. Dividends matter because they teach the ownership mindset. Reinvesting dividends is like buying more workers with the pay your workers produced. It's recursive progress, and it builds momentum quietly. Momentum is important for retention in your own life, not just videos. When you see dividends reinvest, you start feeling the machine. That feeling helps you stay consistent through slow seasons. Now the scary question: What if the market crashes right after you start? If you keep investing, that crash can be your advantage. Your fixed deposit buys more shares at lower prices, and the recovery lifts more shares later. The crash hurts feelings, not the plan. The people who win long-term are the ones who keep buying during fear. The people who lose are the ones who stop contributions, sell low, and wait for certainty that never arrives. So we design the plan to remove the need for courage. Automatic investing plus an emergency fund reduces the chance you have to make a heroic decision during panic. You'll glide through by default. Now what about inflation? Inflation is real and it can erode purchasing power. But owning productive assets has historically been a way to outpace inflation over long periods. That's why we invest, not hoard. Still, you protect yourself by keeping skills growing and income growing because your biggest inflation hedge is earning power. The portfolio is part of the solution, not the whole solution. Here's the mindset shift. You're not saving to sacrifice forever. You're investing to buy options. Options to leave bad jobs, to take time off, to help family, to choose work you actually enjoy. And this is why the million matters. Not because a million is magic, but because it often represents a portfolio large enough to produce meaningful income. It's a bridge from dependence to control. Now, let's turn the million into a map with milestones. The first 10,000 teaches you the habit. The first 50,000 teaches you consistency. The first 100,000 starts showing compounding. After 100,000, the portfolio begins to move on its own. Market swings can equal months of contributions. That's when you feel the shift from "I'm building" to "it's building with me." The next big milestone is 250,000. At that point, discipline starts paying you in confidence. You're less tempted to quit because you finally see the machine producing results. Then 500,000 arrives, and now the million is no longer abstract. It's a double, not a miracle. Doubles happen with time and contributions, not hype and luck. Think in decades, not days. 10 years will pass whether you invest or not. The only question is what you'll own at the end. Time can fund consumption, or it can build ownership. Your future doesn't need perfect timing, just consistent timing. Let's make the daily behavior simple. Each payday you invest first. You keep the same funds. You ignore noise. You focus on your life, your work, and your relationships, while the system runs quietly. The plan only fails if you interrupt it. Interruptions come from fear, greed, boredom, and comparison. Someone online makes a big claim. You feel behind, you chase, you break the machine. So protect your attention. Unfollow hype accounts. Reduce financial doom scrolling. If you consume content, consume it to reinforce your plan, not to replace your plan every week. Now, let's talk about the too simple objection. People think complexity equals intelligence. In investing, complexity often equals fees, errors, and regret. Simplicity is not ignorance. Simplicity is focus. If you want proof, look at the track record of most active traders. Many underperform after costs and taxes, and they experience higher stress. Owning broad indexes is not flashy, but it's effective. Now I'm going to give you a short checklist you can implement today. 1. Choose your baseline investing percentage. 2. Automate it on Payday. 3. Pick your diversified index funds. 4. Reinvest. 5. Build an emergency fund. 6. Set a quarterly check-in. 7. Rebalance annually. 8. Pay down high-interest debt. 9. Capture raises with a rule. That last one is your accelerator. Let's finally reveal the raise rule. It's simple. Every time your income increases, you automatically invest at least half of the raise. If you get a $200 raise, invest $100. If you get a $1,000 raise, invest $500. Your lifestyle still improves so you don't feel punished, but your portfolio accelerates because your contributions climb without negotiation. This rule destroys lifestyle inflation. It prevents the reset to zero cycle. And it's powerful because it scales with your career. You don't have to become a different person. You just need one rule. Now combine the raise rule with automation, and the whole system becomes self-reinforcing. Higher income increases contributions. Higher contributions increase portfolio growth. Portfolio growth increases confidence. Confidence makes it easier to stick with the plan during downturns. And sticking with the plan during downturns is where long-term investors quietly separate themselves from everyone else. At this point, you might be wondering, how long will it take me specifically? It depends on contributions and time, but the framework is consistent. Maximize sustainable percentage, then raise capture, then patience. Here's a quick path example. Start at 300 a month, then use the raise rule to climb to 500, then 800, then 1,000. Your exact path will differ, but the direction is controllable. You're not predicting markets, you're designing behavior. The secret isn't starting big, it's starting now. Time is the multiplier you can't replace, and delays are expensive in ways you don't feel today. A one-year delay isn't only 12 missed deposits, it's decades of missed compounding on those deposits, plus missed habit building. So if you're waiting for the perfect moment, here's the wake-up call. The perfect moment never arrives. There is always uncertainty. Investing is deciding in uncertainty because the future only rewards action. Now I want to address the emotional storyline that ruins people. I'll start when I feel confident. Confidence comes after action, not before. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself on payday. That's why the plan is built around payday behavior. Payday is your moment of truth. It's where you decide whether your future gets funded or your present gets upgraded. And yes, you can enjoy life. This is not about never spending. This is about spending on purpose. Cut mindless spending that doesn't improve your life and keep spending that genuinely does. Because the goal is not misery. The goal is control. Control means your money serves your values, not your impulses. $1 million portfolio is just a scoreboard for that kind of control. Now let's close the loop on the trap I mentioned at the beginning. The trap is quitting right before compounding becomes visible. People invest for years, then stop when the account finally gets meaningful. They stop because they get scared, bored, or distracted, right when compounding begins to matter. And that's the tragedy. Later years do the heavy lifting. Your job is to stay in the game long enough to see the bend. The million is rarely won by brilliance. It's won by endurance. So here's your final promise. If you follow this system, baseline percentage, automated index investing, low fees, emergency fund, rare check-ins, annual rebalancing, and raise capture, you give yourself a real shot, not a fantasy shot, a mathematical shot. The kind where you can look back in 10 years and say, I didn't hope my way here. I built my way here, deposit by deposit. Before you go, I want your commitment in writing. Comment your starting monthly amount below, even if it's small. Then set the automatic transfer today. Don't plan it, schedule it. And if you found this useful, like and subscribe. Seriously, it helps the channel a lot and tells the algorithm this content matters. I'll see you in the next one. Now go fund your future.